The immunity decision that the court issued wasn't the only big Supreme Court decision this term. Another one overruled what's known as the Chevron deference. That's a legal doctrine that if a law was ambiguous, courts should defer to a federal agency's reasonable interpretation. Now those decisions will be determined by the courts. Questions like whether something is a drug or a nutritional supplement, for instance. So what impact will the end of Chevron have on policymaking in our modern, very complex world, Anirban?
I think, Chevron, one thing people forget, now the liberals hate this, but Chevron was a conservative decision coming out from a conservative era in the United States when EPA was controlled by Republicans in that sense. And
Annie Gorsuch, I believe, Neil Gorsuch's mother.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Wow.
So, that decision actually was a pro-corporate decision, allowing the corporations to pass through a certain permit-free loophole. And that had been interpreted now, now the liberals love the regulatory state and the conservatives don't like the regulatory state. So the Chevron has been now gutted, and that is actually overturning a conservative decision, in fact. However, the problem is that many people are saying that, look, there are people, career toxicologists, environmental scientists, fishery experts, they have spent their entire life protecting this country. They have no political agenda in that sense. You are completely taking away that power from them.
And they have expertise, and that's my question. Right. Rick, are the courts the best venue for making such detailed technical policies?
No, I think, on the surface this looks reasonable. We look at the courts to interpret laws. But Congress has passed, for a variety of reasons, laws that are ambiguous, many of them for technical reasons. And I think what we have is a situation, and in fact, Congress has been comfortable, if you will, with the Chevron deference because they've continued over the decades to pass laws that are ambiguous and vague, knowing what this rule is. And it then falls to people whose life experiences, whose expertise is to deal with these technical issues, such as you suggested, what is a drug, something like that. I don't think that really is where the courts.
So will this force Congress to do a better job?
Yeah, it's the onus will be on Congress to do a better job, but I don't think that Congress is structurally positioned to be able to do that because of the lack of expertise that we've talked about. But also, I mean, considering the polarization, how are you going to get Congress to agree on the devil that's in the details when it can't agree on the broad issues? But again, here, and I don't mean to be all pro-SCOTUS today, but the Administrative Procedure Act of 1946 is very explicit in saying that when a case is brought to a court, that the court cannot defer to an administrative agency to adjudicate that case. It's the judge's responsibility to do that.
Tara, Steve Bannon years ago called for the destruction of the administrative state, and it seems like this is what he was talking about. This is what he wanted to do, is get rid of this.
Absolutely, and this absolutely is a step in that direction. Many of the organizations that were pushing for the overturning of the Chevron legal doctrine basically were conservative organizations supported by the Koch network. So this absolutely is what he wanted to happen.
I wonder whether the public's ready for this, where we have so many rules that have been made, things, clean air. This will have a huge impact on climate.
And legally, Congress cannot make all the laws where every statute is unambiguous. Right. It is impossible to write laws that way. So this might be a place where the court will have now power to interpret, and the court said that, look, who has the power to interpret law? The courts have, so we are taking back that power. And of course, there would be a lot of controversy regarding that, what would happen to NOAA, the fisheries case from which they started, and other things. We don't know.
So Nina, we're going to start with your app.
How quickly? According to a recent report by the Commonwealth Fund, the U.S. has the highest rate of women dying in pregnancy, childbirth, or postpartum. This is as compared with other high-income nations. We've got about 22 maternal deaths per every 100,000 live births. This is despite the fact that the U.S. spends more on health care than any other country. More than 80% of these deaths are preventable. We have to start using more prevention methods.
Anirban.
My F goes to the New York Police Department's policy of overruling civilian oversight of police officers' misconducts. By exercising a little-known authority called retention, the Commissioner Edward Caban has been instrumental in corroding the power of Civilian Oversight Board as well as the community trust. One should remind Commissioner Caban that police serves the public, not the other way around.
Tara.
I'm giving myself an F for my presentation last week in the Ramini case. Quite frankly, it was simply confusing.
And Rick, your F.
My F goes to the state of affairs in U.S. men's soccer. America's appreciation of the beautiful game continues to increase. Anticipation of the 2026 World Cup being played in the U.S. is high. Yet once again, the U.S. men's national team has failed to meet expectations. Monday night's loss to Uruguay eliminated them from Copa America, the international soccer tournament encompassing South and North America, and has left the U.S. men's soccer program in complete disarray.
Okay, A's. Nina.
In honor of Independence Day, I'm giving an A to the legacy of Crispus Attucks, who escaped from slavery and 20 years later was the first to die in the Boston Massacre of 1770. The event that set America on its path to independence. I salute Crispus Attucks and so many others who sacrificed by choice or force for the American ideal.
Anirban.
Excellent, A, Nina. My A goes to an American Jewish military intelligence officer, Major Harrison Mann, for resigning in protest of US's support for Israel's most recent and ongoing war. He told the Jerusalem Post, seeing from day one that there were going to be an incredible amount of civilian casualties and seeing that everyone on the American side was well aware of that was very demoralizing. My honor goes to people like Major Mann, who takes the phrase never again seriously and acts accordingly.
Tara, your A.
My A goes to the Kenyan government and the soldiers it has and will send to Haiti to quell the violence there. Kenya is leading the United Nations mission, which will involve soldiers from other nations, to try to restore peace to Haiti before elections in 2025. This Kenyan effort is an example of Pan-African diaspora helping itself.
And Rick, your A.
Sticking with my sports report, my A goes to Andy Murray. For decades, Andy Murray was the +1 to the big three of Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. In 2013, he became the first British winner of the men's title at Wimbledon since 1936. He was hoping to end his career at playing one last time at Wimbledon, but back surgery has forced him to withdraw from singles, although he'll play doubles with his brother. A well-deserved A to one of the most intense, tenacious, and intelligent of tennis players.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Now, Nina, your F was about maternal mortality, and you said we need to have prevention methods, and I think one big factor leading to that is poverty.
Poverty, access to health care, access to health insurance, and also dealing with some of the underlying morbidities that increase the likelihood of a death.
And a lot of these morbidities, we can almost focus geographically on some of them. A lot of this.
Geographically, but also racially, because black women are three times more likely.
And I'm going to give an A. I'm going to give an A to Tara. You gave yourself an F, but A for everything else.